Good evening, everyone. It's another episode of Unheralded Heroes, and today I've got a esteemed guest called Raggo Zulu Rebel, and we done a course about a year and a half ago together when we was making picture frames for our loved ones for a
Hmm.
mental health workshop. And I
Still
thought
got mine.
he's such a charismatic and affable man. I said, let me get him on there and see if he could give us some golden nuggets and some of his wisdom. So. Tell us more about your father support work that you was just talking about with me off camera. You're saying that you have to help organize the
Yeah,
dad.
man. So big up, greetings,
Mm,
and big up was Heralded Heroes.
yeah,
Big
I
up the
heard it there.
series. Big up everyone involved. Big up the self hosting and having me. Yeah. So basically, it's mentorship. I started kind of a mentorship through music. So obviously, I'm a musician. I'm an artist, and over the years, you learn things, and it's kind of each one teach one. We kind of move culturally as people. So sometimes it was organically happening, and then it turned into a more of a structured form through various different organizations, whether it be local libraries, whether it be in prisons, whether it be in schools, whether it be wherever the situation. And then that turned into round about just before lockdown. We did about 5 years from before lockdown leading into lockdown. We did 5 years of workshops through Youth London via an
Okay.
organization called UPress. They're like a social enterprise in East London. They was operating in West at the time, but we put about basically it was an artist development workshop where we spent 15 weeks with 15 young people from 15 to 25. Each week they learned a different aspect of the music industry or the creative process of being an artist or marketing, branding,
Okay.
um, all that kind of aspect basically. Yeah? And we did that for 5 years. It was quite successful all the way through lockdown and went through the whole, the transition to online and to like the Zoom and Teams and all this. When a lot of projects were getting shut down at that time, we kind of just swiftly transitioned and started pioneering with some of the things at the time, which is now normal, common
Yeah.
stance as look at where we are right now.
Yeah, new norm, new norm.
Anyhow, there you go. There you go. But yeah, even more than new normal, man. Things that can't stay the same. Everything must grow. So but
Yeah,
it's
cool,
just
definitely.
interesting to see things that we just do every day. I think Rakim had a lyric here and he said, I can take a term that's rarely heard, flip it, and that's a daily word. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah,
that's
I
how the
remember that
mind
one
is.
too.
You know?
Yeah.
Like things that aren't regular, consistent. Someone can just pull it into your forefront of your mind. Now, like I think they call it yellow lorry syndrome.
Okay,
And like when
okay.
you see a yellow lorry, then you start to see them everywhere, and now you
They're
can't miss
everywhere,
them.
yeah. Yeah. That's it. I'm
But
like
yeah,
that with
boom.
London
So through
buses.
that,
Mm.
ah, there you go, there you go. So through that, basically, um, I was working as a ranger for a next charity. I was doing up and down. It's kind of like a community liaison type vibes, but the work was turning a bit. I don't want to speak ill of them because that company was real good to me. I was there for about 10 years. But as the work transitioned, same as like this is I'm saying, like at one point it was more community liaison, social worker, and then it kind of turned more into kind of I don't want to be PC with it, you know what I mean? But it was
That's
just a
what
bit
good man. Mm.
it's not just star power, you know what I mean? It's not that deep, but just more, see like oh for example, a lot of customer facing staff nowadays have to wear security cam and all this kind of business and it's a lot more about reporting rather than kind of de-escalating and all this kind of data collection and all that as opposed to having a human like when I started the job it was a lot more about a human connection and the fact that because you're out there you're dissolving or you're connecting people to problems and solutions. You know what I mean? And a lot of time that human touch just goes a long way. But by the time I kind of came to the end of my service, it was kind of a lot more like see it, say it, saw it kind of vibes. You know?
Okay. Okay. Do you think that's a cultural thing, or is it because they want to identify trends and patterns? Because I know that a lot of these kind of public services, the only way they keep funding is they can show that they're serving a need, but they
Oof,
meet the KPIs that they set out for them. And if they don't really
oof,
care about the
oof.
human connection on a one-to-one because look, that's not work. It shows the volume of work that you're doing.
I think yeah, KPIs and that kind of stuff, but not necessarily in my work. I just think, like you said, culturally in society, for example, I did notice before it came around to us, it started to be like the security cams and McDonald's staff, train staff. Do you know what I mean? Like just I noticed it happen and then it was like like nighttime,
Mm.
and it didn't catch me yet, but eventually that day dawn set on us as well. Do you know what I mean? So, but I also feel like with all places, transition of staff, a lot of people that was there moved, interest, things that are important become different, and a lot of the things that where you have a relationship or you've been there a long time and make the thing because you've done it a while, you've learned through experience, you've got the wisdom of experience that you know that this works. New people come in with new ideas and it becomes about different things. It becomes about, like I said, numbers, KPIs, crunch, and that's the first thing to go, you know. And oftentimes, through their own experience, they will figure out and come to the same conclusions. But you can't always teach new old tigers new tricks. You can't always
Yeah,
show
yeah,
people, like, oh,
yeah.
actually, I've done it, and that. You know what I mean, let me show you in it. Let me save you the. So through that opportunity came with this organization, and it was about like I was going through some issues in my own fatherhood experience, and I had certain connections to the organization. A friend of mine was working there, and he was like, "Ah, cool, boom, let me see what one." I turned up, tried the thing, and the work was basically like working with young dads. There's not a structured way, you know what I mean? Like, because everything is different, but you're getting in there, you're building a relationship. One of the good things about the work, which is different to what I've done before, different to what I see in any other services, is you've got a long period to work with them. A lot of the other organizations and structures run it like 6 months, tops. You know what I mean? And then half the time it takes 6 months even to make any genuine connection for them to trust you and start telling you the truth. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
for you to do something or to be there in a moment of the catastrophe for them. Okay? To be there in a moment of catastrophe for them, yeah? Like, so that when you can kind of be there to catch them and then like, oh, okay, you're actually all right still. And then they realize you're not statutory services, you're not this, that, the fourth, and you can kind of start to gel. But often with most other organizations or most other like projects, by the time you've built that connection, you
So
got to close down with them kind of thing, and you've got to move on. You know.
is that because the funding ends, or they just said, oh, they're just monitoring it for that time, and then they've got to stop?
Well, with the project I was working on, we had a longer period. I think the first of all it was originally 2 years, and because we did well, we got extended to a year, and then we got another year extension. Um, and it's transferred from who we was working with from the mayor's office to the mayor's office, and then went to like National Lottery or something like that or whatever. But because we've had it for that extended period, and I think they wanted more to see, like it's guinea pigging and piloting basically. So what we're trying to do is prove results to show that these things
Yeah,
work,
yeah.
and then we can open up things for other opportunities for other organisations because there is the demand, you know.
Yeah, I've noticed that still because with Equal Start, it was not just the online talking and talking about social issues and social commentary. You just got a little funding pot for to run a domestic abuse pilot for 6 months, which I surprised because obviously I got no
Yeah.
official experience with that. So I quickly done a domestic abuse level 2 course with Learning Care Group, and then I wrote a
Okay.
proposal.
Learning care group. Yeah.
Yeah, Learning Care Group. So I applied for something in the local council that I live with, where I live in, and there's a lady that represents Mountain Bain Voice. And she said, "I see you come to the meetings
Okay.
and you're talking about you need to reduce misogyny by engaging men more." So it was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But she fobbed it off
Yeah.
for a while. And then I went to a couple of
But
like
one second, how is that interesting? Why would that be rocket science? That would not be the solution to the problem, right? Rather, the opposite to that would be to avoid men, and if they're the people that are known at the higher rates of causing the problem, avoiding them or not engaging them wouldn't lead to any. You know what I mean? It's really not rocket
yeah,
science. And as much as people don't do it often, it's just
it's the political narrative because where the reason why I took it because it's basically a 2 year journey for me to get this. And they gave it to me in last month in August.
yeah.
Um, she was like, "Oh, Sean, men domestic abuse." Engaging men outside of a context deficit of telling them you need to behave yourself better, you need to be less aggressive, you need to be more amenable and respectful to women. I said, unless you're doing that, no one's going to fund it, you're talking about. So I said, think about it. I said, logically, I said, all you have to
So
do is go in there with them and tell them, look, if we have men that are angry, upset with life, not seeing their children, not in gainful, secure employment, pushed to the fringes, if they
mm,
speak out against the status quo, that's just labeled as an Andrew Tate figure or Jordan Peterson. So they said, "Oh, basically you're a misogynist. You're one step from being, like a sexual assault or molester." So said, if you do that, what do you think will happen? Some people implode and maybe unalive themselves, or then you get other people that will explode and they will lash out and do something, physical, some form of
Mm.
physical violence, or sabotage
Fight or
or
flight.
thing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
so they're like, oh, that's it's true. So how can you think? So I said, you know what I'll do as a compromise? I said I'll have a female defense class for an hour after the practitioner session for female residents. Did that.
Balance.
And they said,
So there you
yes,
go. But see
excellent.
that, see how
We'll give you
logical
the
this
money.
came
We'll
to
give you the
think,
money.
okay, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna upskill one set.
Yeah, so I was shocked.
Yeah,
Yeah, as
man.
soon as I said, yeah, the female defense class, they said, yeah, we'll give you the money. They give you the money. So they gave me 4 grand too, to do. So I got to find a practitioner now and
Send,
spend
send me a
it.
link for the DV course. So send me a
Yeah,
link
yeah.
for that
Well, I
DV
said it.
course.
Yeah, yeah. Learning curve. Yeah, I sent it to you. I sent it to you. Their thing, they're all right. They're all right. But if you're not on benefits, it's like a £90 course though. That's the thing. So this thing,
Okay.
yeah.
That's okay.
That's how they fund it. If you think they must
But
get
you
government
see what
support,
you see what you're saying about the you see
sorry,
what you're
go
saying about like, the aggression, the frustration, the unchanneled emotion, energy, yeah. Especially with young men or men in general. Like if you're not channeling it through some form of activity or hobby or like sports or I don't know, taekwondo, MMA,
on.
boxing,
Mm,
football, jogging, punching a
mm,
punching bag,
mm,
musician, artist. Some if there's not some form of expression, like you said, it doesn't go outward, it goes inward, and
mm,
it can pressure by spikes or make static. You
mm,
know what I mean? Some
mm,
people turn into geniuses, and other people either OD or jump off a bridge. You know what I mean? So a lot of the work that we would do, as much as like we do stuff like the formal stuff of hand holding in our case holding work because there's different strands of the work. But as much as we go like job centre with them and talk to their probation officer, the teacher, the social worker, all that kind of stuff as well. But a lot of the work is just trying to get them to be reflective and open up their way of thinking and just to look. This is how you think today. Expand it to that. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it's activities, sometimes it's trips, sometimes it's field excursions, sometimes it's cinema, go see a certain film, theatre, whatever. Like
There's
creating
fun enough
different
that work.
opportunities to put them in circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what the sad thing is though? Oftentimes a lot of them don't engage it because they don't see the value in that.
Okay.
But it's because, like I said, it's not an overnight thing. Just because you offer someone something doesn't mean they're just going to take. Why
Mm, I agree. I
they don't
agree.
trust people? They're very dubious of services. They're very dubious of their opinions aren't valued. You know, as I said, they feel marginalized on many levels in their life. Yeah. So when you start coming to them and just like anytime you've ever been with people, forget about even work. And if you ain't really been shown a lot of love from family members or from your immediate
Mm.
circumstances, or if there's like dysfunction in that, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
people get
I
around
agree.
you and show you just genuine, real, no agenda, no whatever, you're like, it takes a while for you to put your guard down because your natural instinct, your survival instincts are to be
Mm,
weary. No one's got nothing, there's nothing for nothing. So what do you want from me? And it takes them a while to realize, okay, like, right, this, even when I flop, even when I don't turn up, even when I whatever, this guy's not bugging out on me. He might turn around and pull me up a bit about it, but more time, this guy's cool. He don't want nothing from me. And actually, when the social worker was getting on to me about this and that or whatever, he kind of broke down what I thought and told them, but he didn't even switch. He just told them normal, like raw, like. And when my baby mom was he was able to show her, look, what from what we've been saying, this is what I feel and rah rah rah. And now she's been moving different with man and that and rah. And then what happens after a while is they start clocking how you move. You're not fed. You're not, however the case may be.
yeah, I was gonna
Then
say
they
that.
start to pattern their thing and start doing
Yeah,
things that you
yeah,
do because it's
yeah.
modeled behavior. Example: monkey see, monkey do. So you'll see them
Mm,
in the meetings, and before they would have been, but we dumb, we dumb. And you see them, no, but I think like, bro, you lot are trying to take the mic because we turn around and said like, right, the nappy is this or this, that, the fourth, or da 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 da. We communicated with you lot. You lot didn't listen to us, and now look what's happened. Da 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 da. And the people are like,
mm,
okay, 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 but they're not switching. He's not cursing. He's not
mm,
being abusive or taking it personal. He's now able to articulate his thoughts and feelings. Some of the other things we do is like trips, like we went like rage rooms, for example, yeah.
mm,
And because oftentimes, like you said, the whole thing of men are aggressive. Yeah, men have testosterone. It's part of our nature, and as our protectors, you want that element if someone was to invade or
Yeah,
aliens were
cool
to
to
invade,
fight. Yeah,
something to kick
cool.
off your door, you
It's
want
always
the
at the
man to be
behest of
aggressive in
people
the
if they can
substance in
harness
those
it.
instances.
Yeah, definitely.
But you don't want it when it's in other circumstances. But that takes a person to be able to emotionally regulate their shit. You know what I mean? Excuse my French, yeah?
No, no,
And
no,
what that
no.
comes from is from attachment theory in childhood. And if when you're a child, your needs aren't met, or if when you're a child, you have to um, do extreme things to manage or balance extreme
Cool to survive.
circumstances, it's hard for you normally to bring yourself back to your equilibrium. So that these are the problems that, you know what I mean, a lot of these guys are facing. So what we do
I
is get
agree.
them in a space where
I
they
agree.
can let off some of that steam, and there's no one judging them, and it's safe. And they're not punching holes in the walls, they're not scaring their kids or their missus because they can't hold it. Because oftentimes what will happen, trying to be a good guy, trying to be a good boyfriend, or what they think is a good boyfriend, they're not speaking how they feel. They're not talking what's on their mind. We learn it oftentimes that your feelings aren't valued, and when you turn around and talk the things, either a sissy or you're emotional or you're
Yeah, yeah,
sassy
whinging,
or
whinging.
you're
Your
demanding
feminine
or
energy,
all these other things.
sassy.
And sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But you're also a human being and you're entitled to. And how will you learn what the healthy balance is if you don't ever exercise it? But
Mm,
oftentimes people is being manipulated in that dynamic. Not always. Not always. Some of these guys are narcissistic and got their other problems. But through these conversations, we figured it out. What is the balance of are you a narc or whatever these fancy words that they call it these days, or are you um, emotionally like mute and void and you don't really know how to manage that. So now you're bottling it, and like a can of Coke that's fizzed up, you haven't got any release,
mm,
and then you explode. So we get them in this space. They come smash up some TVs and some dishes and some plates and stuff or whatever. Man are exhausted after. We have a chat about your feelings and raw how you felt before you came and what the couple of guys wanted to bring their misses. Couple of guys felt great and didn't realize raw. This is how you, and it starts to add to their scope of experiences. We
mm.
take them to like clay rooms, build some pottery like it was ghosts, not quite as romantically as that, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
we
yeah,
build a
not
little
like
pottery
ghosts.
and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, so
Do you know what I mean? Patrick
the
Swayze
pottery
vibes.
works for the men, yeah? The
Yeah,
pottery,
some guys want to smash things up, some guys want to build something, you know what I mean? So, but it's calm. It was a chilled out space. We weren't doing a bag of talking, but man, then we're just building and vibes in and just holding our meds, you know what I mean? And it was a nice, calm, I mean, it was like the same thing as the rage rooms, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, you know what I mean?
mm,
We went go karting the other day, zinging around the
yeah,
course and that. Guys like a bit of competition. Some
yeah,
guys brought their kids. I brought one of my sons. You know what I mean? But and that's modeling as much as we're having fun, we're having a good time because we learn through play. But it's
yeah.
also positive male bonding. It's also healthy competition. It's also it's just different elements of you know what I mean. Getting them out of their area. There's lots of different things, but it just broadens their scope. It builds up their trust. They start to recognize peer support and these kind of ideas. We start to create safe spaces. We put on
Yeah, that's what I'm
events.
trying to distill with
We
that.
support other people's peer support groups.
We need that more male
If you've
self.
got any peer support groups and stuff, I might not be able to come all the time, but man will definitely show up and try and signpost. And another thing as well is the big signposting because we can't do it all, but there's also a lot of other people doing bits and bobs. So if we know someone's doing something, Sean, oh, you got this going on? Okay, go talk to my colleague over here. Oh, you got someone? Da, 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 da. I know, and when we're sending you, we know because we've worked with these people before. We're not just sending you on a wild goose chase. Good luck. Pat on the back. Here's the sandwiches.
Mm,
Let me know how it goes. Do you know what I mean? Nah, man is sending you to verified recommendations. You know.
yeah, that's serious. That's serious work. That's serious work. But yeah, I agree. We need more male safe spaces. That's the thing they're talking about because the way a lot of the feminist colleagues say, they say, look, can men be trusted alone without some kind of female supervision? They said, what kind of inequity are they up to? What are you talking about? And then because it's the rise of this, that Netflix show Adolescence, and then Andrew Tate, everything is like, oh, misogyny, misogyny, misogyny.
No,
Yeah, and it's irritating. Mm,
before you even get to the misogyny, yeah, Sean, I won't lie. Some man is wicked. That is part of man's nature. But as wicked as man is good. It's the balance. It's day and night. You got 12 hours day and 12 hours night.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? So some of us and some of us are wicked, some of us ain't, and some of us been wicked and convert and turn and it's the
mm.
duality. It's like a lava lamp. You know what I mean? But ultimately, it's the challenge for us to rise above our nature. And enough man is out here trying to rise above our nature. You know what I mean? Enough man is out here trying to do better and
Yeah,
do
but
more. So to demonize those for the sake of Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't even tell, like, for example, telling a woman, like, that's like telling me to not be scared of a lion. A lion will bite me if
Yeah,
I move
cool.
mad, or I'm
Yeah,
not be scared
exactly,
of the sea.
exactly.
I would drown in it if I don't respect it.
Fun enough, one of them
But
I told the other day when we was discussing, I said, listen, if you gave females the men's physical strength, said you see how much deaths there would be. You see how much wars there would be. Trust me. It said the main disparity is the upper body strength. And obviously our perceived aggression because of the testosterone. So he said his thing, so I can understand that. But I said it's not a gender thing. Narcissism, coercive control, manipulation, financial abuse. I said
yeah,
women financially abuse men all the time. Why do you think? Who do you think gets most of the money in divorce proceedings, or who has to actually leave the home if there is disputed thing over accommodation? Social housing favors single mothers. So I said,
listen,
yeah,
you see where I used to work on the, see where I used to work on the canals? I used to work on the rivers. How many of the men there on the boats there are men that are divorcees and that have lost everything in their life and all they got is enough to buy a little boat and
yeah,
they got to
yeah,
start
yeah.
again from there. Enough of them, some of them is bitter, broken. Some of them is just glad and they're kind of rebuilding their life from scratch and it's like a new lease of life
The
for
new
them. You know what I
start,
mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
they're free to kind of, yeah.
No, I
But
had two
you
colleagues
see it, man. Enough of
because
them.
I used to work in facilities maintenance, and I had two colleagues. Oh, the Scottish man that had a boat, and I was sure, and
Is it
he
there?
shipped it out and he rebuilt because he was like an engineer. He basically repaired it himself.
Hmm?
But he said he prefers it because he said it costs less money. Um, he said he don't have anyone dictating to him or can push him out. So his thing. But to be fair, with his partner though, they get along all right
Yeah.
now. He just prefers it like that, and he gets to keep more of his salary. So his thing. And then another one said, yeah, it was divorce proceedings, and he said he had to make sure that he put down money so he could have accommodation, and the boat was cheaper option. But I didn't realize he was rife like that. So he said there was a lot
If
of
it's not that, if it's not that, it's caravan. But yeah, that's what the problem is. Here is I started working with them in like what 2015. Yeah, they took over as a charity from the government in 2012. Yeah, and in that time, a lot of people prior to that was going there because it was like a new haven, a secret garden. You know what I mean? But
okay,
because everyone's looking for different ways to beat credit crunch, and remember that 2008, you've had the
yeah, yeah, of
crisis
course,
and
yeah, I'll
this
never
and
forget
that,
that.
and all these kind of things. So people is ducking, diving, trying to find different ways, and a lot of these things around the gentrification and all that of places like Hackney, Hackney Wick, places like Portobello Road and Labatt Grove and King's Cross and
Mm,
Haggerston and all these different and Tottenham and all these different communities. Yeah. So around about all these times, different people from different spaces are coming to London and trying to figure out what is the angle for. So some of them are coming and staying in some of these squats. Some of them are coming and staying in some of these cheap warehouse accommodations, and other people are either coming and renting other people's boats, or they're coming and buying a quick boat, quick, cheap thing, do it up, and then making it moving. And as other people start to see it, because enough times we're here, we use the space, but we're not paying it no mind. But as you
mm,
start to see more and more people come, people are like, hang on a second, what's this? Cheat code?
mm,
Let me have one. And
mm.
what happens is, even since I've been there, the saturation of the boat community. Listen, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying the increase in numbers is is mad. It's doubled and tripled probably in the last
That's
10,
it.
10, 5 to 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
I
So
might be doing
one thing
study
that
on
was
that then.
once a little kind of couple people doing it.
Yeah, yeah, I might have to do a
Listen, it's
study on
deep,
that
man. It's
still.
deep. Go down and talk to the people because as much as I worked for the organization for years, I had to learn what my official spiel was, but I learned a lot from what the community was really showing me, and I had to walk the thin line between. You know what I mean? Because obviously you represent the company to a degree. You're an employee. Their names on your paycheck at the end of the month, which
Yeah, definitely.
feeds your family and does what it has to do. But on the flip side, I'm not an idiot, and I'm not going to lie to myself or other people. So how do I balance my corporate spiel
Mm.
with reality that I'm having to engage these people and work around? You know what I mean? Like I can't do Emperor's new clothes and walk out there naked and expect people to say, "Oh, look at my new shirt." I'm not
Yeah,
an idiot.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not an idiot. So how do I work around that to make that ends meet literally? And that was it.
Mm.
These are interesting life skills you develop along the way.
Yeah, that's serious. You died in the wool. Yeah, I kind of backed out of all that once I stopped doing the support work at YMCA. But from have tearing this ACL
Yeah.
that I
Which
told you
YMCA
about.
was it?
Sorry.
Which YMCA was it? Which YMCA was it? Not Wolfie Street.
Wimbledon,
Which
Wimbledon,
YMCA?
and Surbiton ones.
Okay.
So yeah, once I come out of that, I said, yeah, let me go and do this facilities maintenance because he paid more money. But then yeah, when I tore this ACL two
Yeah.
years ago in my knee, I said, I was kind
How'd
of
you tear it?
down.
Football.
Hmm?
How'd you tear it? Football.
Yeah, dad's football for a charity called Dad's House. Imagine, I done it the 2 weeks before the thing here, so it's and then I've had the two surgeries since. And so I said, in the meantime, 'cause at first I was a bit down about it, but after about 3 or 4 months, I said, yeah, I got to be doing something. So you know how it goes. If you're not working, you got to be learning. So I went and done this mental health first aid thing. I sold a little jerk season on the side, so
No, I got
yeah,
one. I
maybe I
got
should
that
spend
still.
more time trying to increase the sales. And then this thing came up with Mountain Bain Voice. It said, Sean, you're quite proactive and you always basically being a rebel, coming there and criticizing the services. Why don't you try and do something? Yeah, so I said, oh, I'll have a go. Yeah, so that's how it came up. But with all the advent since since lockdown with this podcast stuff, and I see a lot of people coming there, charlatans, talking degrees and that, and saying, telling people, simple people or people that are broken or in pain, like the cliche stuff. And then like I said, how do you get away with that? So there's no absolutes when it comes to interpersonal relationships between men and women. They said if you start doing like that, like there's absolutes, they said then you were constantly going to be at odds. You know this thing about
Mm.
six figures, 6 foot 6 inches, and all this rubbish. And then I said that's an American thing. I said I've seen them things done on like them things like Fresh. Was it Fresh and Fit? Yeah, and then yeah, some of these other ones as well, like the Shea Bar. And I said how you get away with that stuff? That ain't true. That's not necessarily true. There's all types of people that don't engage in that. But it's like if you're not in that camp, you're a simp, and if you're not purely in the feminist camp, you're a misogynist. So that's what made me want
But
to do.
do you know what it is? Because like it's a camps. Camps, it's all gangbanging. Everything is gangbanging now, whether it's religious, whether it's political, whether it's social, whether it's sexual, whether it's whatever. Everything is gangbanging. Everything is, and it's nothing is just you do that and I do this. It's I do this, and because everyone's on some mini colonizer thing, they want to
Yeah, yeah,
dominate
it's
the
true. It
next
is
man and say,
exactly. Yeah,
oh,
I was saying that
you
the
have
other
to do
day.
my thing.
Divide and conquer.
Man, just relax, man. Like I don't care what you do really, to be honest. You know what I mean, obviously, I got my governance of what I'm about. But as a grown ass man, maybe in my 20s or in my teens, where I'm trying to figure out who I am, and I can't
Mm,
afford to be influenced too much by external forces. But at this point in my life, I know what the hell I'm about, and I can engage with different people and have
mm,
discourse and reason, and even learn things from these people. Whether or not I turn around and take up their lifestyle or not, I can turn around and learn and get a different angle on my own lifestyle from the difference and the comparison and the distance between me and these people. Yeah? But where everyone is so scared that whatever the other person has might rub off, they're just on this for
yeah.
life about
Yeah, no,
everything.
it's
Man's
odd, but
gangbanging about Catholicism, or man's
yeah, yeah,
gangbanging
yeah.
about
No, I know,
veganism, or
I
man's
know.
gangbanging about bisexuality, or man's gangbanging about having a pooch poodle or some
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
bro. Some weird shit, bro. But the man is ready to ride out on you for it and call the
yeah. I know,
police
I
and get you
know,
killed,
I know, I know, man. It's
or
so
wants to stab you
dogmatic.
in the neck over it. Like, no,
Yeah, I see it.
German poodles are better than Shih Tzus. Ah!
Like when we were young, like the kind of big figures, is it Pound Sterling and Young Spray and that? I don't know how he called himself Young Spray at this age. Jesus. But yeah, they're coming on there and said, look, how you think? And it's like I don't know if it's like a rerun or like a rebirth. But then I said, if you're having these kind of discussions, flaring up and then these gossip things and then it could turn into fights online. I said, and then you got younger people like 15, 20 years younger than you watching. I said, it looks like a mockery. And then if we look, these old fools, middle-aged men canon like teenagers and people in their early 20s. But it seems to be the thing with the clickbait and the rage
But you know
baiting.
what it is, yeah? With a lot of that stuff is that it's reality though. Like a lot of people live in their second childhood. A lot of our parents, not I can't, I'm not gonna say my parents, but a lot of our parents generationally were people that was in their second childhood. So rather than when they're moving on to even thinking about my parents' generation, for example, to our grandparents' generation, our grandparents' generation by the time they was in their 20s was on their set of kids, probably second marriage, third home, different
Mm.
mortgage. Da, 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 da. Our parents were partying. The 70s. was a time second generation migration in the UK. They was on the next
Mm,
vibe. Do you know what I mean? So not to diss them because we got great things out of it. We got Lovers
yeah,
Rock
of course we did.
and and all kinds of different cultural elements that came out of that time, which was great. The
Mm,
music and the vibes and the films and
true,
all kind of
true.
thing and hip hop and it was great. But it was a different focus as opposed to the first generation that came here. Do you know what I mean? But the difference is all we got is a few pictures in the photo album with
Yeah,
oh look at Mom's Afro, or look at the
yeah,
bell bottoms, or oh look
yeah,
little Pan Grandpa, or do you know what I mean? They didn't
yeah,
have no live feeds filming every minute of it, every second of the day, and plus
yeah,
the hype when the camera comes onto you.
yeah,
You know
true.
you got to add a pinch of salt. When the camera comes on, man, people just start acting the fuck up, and the whole of society is on film. Like whether it be that they're filming ourselves or whether first of all it was that was on CCTV from the end of like the
Yeah,
millennium, kind of
yeah,
like mid 2010s to
yeah,
the 2010s times. It was on CCTV, and then from the
cool.
2010s up to the 2020s, we're filming ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, do
everyone is
yourself.
on 10 because we're always it. And what this is the after effect to the Jerry Springer generation, bro.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's reality TV
And
shows.
these are the babies of the
Mm,
Jerry Springer.
yeah,
If
true.
not the ones of us that grew up on it firsthand,
Mm,
then the second and third generation grew up watching it on reload, or
reruns.
their
Yeah,
parents grew up
yeah,
with it as kids. You know what I mean? The teen pregnancies of the teen of whatever, or the crap babies of the late 90s, it's their kids now. You
but to
know?
be fair, when I never really come across podcasts until what the lockdown, because I never see. I think, to be fair, 2019, someone asked me to come on some
Yeah,
kind
but
of.
the podcast is the medium. It's
Hmm?
podcast is the medium now, but it's the
Mm.
same as it's no different to Jerry Springer. Whether it's
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
pop
yeah,
balloon is
yeah,
Cilla Black and
yeah,
the Blind Date. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Cool. See,
The
I
the
remember
the,
that when I was a
the
kid.
ton up the chat shit about the Gallem thing is probably like it's probably like a Maury province or something, or like a
Mm.
not even what's the bald black man, the one that used to beat Skamala Harris.
Ah, I forget now. I forget his
Is
name.
it Montel?
Is it Is it Yeah, yeah, I
Yes,
think it was.
Montel.
Yeah, Montel. Yeah, I think it is Montel. Yeah,
And he used to cut and he would custom you ain't no good, daddy.
yeah,
Where
yeah,
you been? Da, da,
yeah,
da, da, da.
yeah.
But each one of them kind of is some different element of this podcast
Yeah, I
with
know
which
it's
they're
come
kind of
on to.
taken and we do it's a home DIY version which fits
Yeah,
this new
DIY version. Yeah, definitely.
new internet era, but that's all it is. Some of the deeper ones are reasoning ones that you might have like a Dr. Umar or a my man from like um, uh, um not dead president from Public Enemy or that kind of stuff. That's more like
Oh,
Kilroy, for example,
Chuck
or
D.
social issues. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? But
Chuck
each
D.
one of them,
Mm,
yeah, Chuck D or not even the other one, not Professor Grimm. That's what I was thinking of, Professor Grimm. But
okay.
or you've got like the breakfast show, and that's like the big breakfast store. That's
Mm,
like,
mm.
do you know what I mean? But each one of them is just a different element or modernized version of the old time shit. Nothing ain't new. No
But yeah,
new
but it
idea under the sun.
exploded over the last 5 years. It's mad. Because yeah, when I went on Omega
Of
FM
course,
2019,
of
just
course.
before the year before the lockdown, it was the end of the year, but and they turned around and said, "Yeah, come and talk about your experiences with fatherhood and that on there." One African lady. But at the time, I said, "This is a radio show. How come you got cameras in it?" So I didn't know it was called podcasting. That. So she said, "Yeah, we want video visuals." I said, "Yeah, but you told me it's radio." So that went on there, and then she put it up on YouTube. So I said, "Right, is this a thing?" So by the next year, March now in 2020, and we went into lockdown, my African friend Kingsley, fun enough, he was on just before you. He um he sent me this thing, Fresh and Fit, some American Miami thing, and then I had this man with this silly voice. I said, "Where's he from? He don't sound American. He don't sound European." At the time, it's Andrew Tate. So I said, "What's all this thing?" So I just thought it was a bit of scandal and thing. Yeah, so when I saw this tape fell on Fresh and Fit. I said, "It's funny accent. Where's he from?" And that, and people said, "Oh, look, this man is like the leader of was it the Manosphere and the Red Pill and all this stuff." I said, "Really?" I said that I remember that
King of
come
the incels, yeah.
they called the Matrix when I was a teenager. So I said, "How has that become a thing now?" So I was completely oblivious to it. So I went on another one. I think after the second lockdown, straight after work, and I met this. You might have heard of him, Sarah Garvey. He's like a
Yeah,
Garvey.
he
Yeah,
used to be on Family Affair.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I remember him from. I said, "You used to be in a thing, didn't you? Like a TV program. How come you're doing this?" So he was doing something with a lady called Pearl Davis. So all of a sudden,
Yeah,
I see she blew up.
Pearl, pretty things or whatever her name is.
Yeah. So I said, that's thing. So I said, how come you got me on there? I thought you use a Garveyite. You don't deal with this kind of setting. You're all about the black conscience, the black. So he said, what do you
That's
mean?
so
So they
funny.
got funny with me. Yeah. I was shocked. So he
That's
got
I thought
funny with me
you was a
about it.
guy
So I said,
like,
what do you
run
mean?
to the Trenton area.
Yeah, 'cause I was totally shocked. Especially the way he was carrying on. It's almost like performative. So the one time I went in there, he said I spoiled the
Bro,
thing.
was that his thing, yeah? Was that his girl?
No, to be fair, I got a feeling he had something there because he thought he might elevate him and he's basically support base, his platform, whatever. But there's another woman I know that she calls herself Aunt Jenny, and she reckons he did like her.
I know. I was on her podcast stuff.
Yeah, but I never saw nothing from what I saw of them thing. It was more like to perform it like, oh,
Business.
oh, you're not going out, and he said, yeah, people think you're my bane. You laugh about it on the show. But I just thought he's a bit
Okay.
performative because his child is black, and the woman he was married to before, she's black. So I just thought he's just for the cameras. But then I noticed everyone was having a thing. This here podcast, this person doing podcasting, and I said a lot of it from what I see is gobbledygook and rage baiting. So I told me and my friends, I said, look, with the kind of things we've done in life, we can do our own thing, but instead of washed up rappers and like BC celebrities, we can it said we can do add some value by talking about real stuff and progressive stuff in the community. But a lot of people said, no, no one want to hear the preaching and social justice and everything there. That don't get no views. So I said, I'm gonna do my thing, Unheralded Heroes. And we talk about community leaders that are doing positive
Yeah,
work real time front line. So that's why I wanted to
yeah.
do this with you still.
Yeah, man. Give thanks, man.
Mhm.
Give thanks, man. The podcast, like this whole new era is very interesting. You know what I mean? Getting older and like I said about the world changes and things that was once normal disappear, or like places that used to be like you may have been a dominant force in that place. That may have been your place one time, and then you go away and come back, and there's no evidence or trace that you ever even existed in this space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
You kind of coming to terms with a lot of those things, and even oftentimes like I've been learning a lot about like emotional grief, and not just grief for like people that have literally physically passed. And even with that kind of thing, as we spiritually grow, we realize that like life's eternal, and this body and this flesh is just a persona in this time. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
obviously we have an ego which is attached to that. But when
yeah.
when your body, the soul leaves your body for this time or this advent, life still goes on. So as we kind of mature on that
Mm,
side of things,
yeah, it's true.
what was I saying on the flip side of it was I was saying something about something.
The legacy though. Yeah, I see what you're saying. The legacy. That's what I see it as. That's why I think why the podcast is grown because people say, oh, at least then the internet will always have me on there. Yeah, so instead
I
of
think
having nondescript brain,
it's good and bad with the podcast thing.
mm,
Because it's like we used to have certain reasoning and certain conversations that are deep, and you would want to have some evidence of it, or you know what I mean. And the most you
mm,
would get is a chat show,
mm,
or like a news interview, and you'd read it in a magazine or whatever. But you didn't
mm.
really, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you'd leave certain reasoning with people and be like, "Right, that's deep." Do you know what I mean? You'd feel enlightened, and so it's great that some of that is getting captured, but also there's the element of the camera thing, and it's not natural for us after all that to know that we're being filmed because we just start to perform somewhat, and we're not necessarily channeling or streaming information in that same organic way that it was before. But you
Oh,
know, good and bad with all these things. So, yeah, thanks, folks.
but the
Yeah, man.
freedom. To be fair though, what I do like is that before legacy media, if we had stories out there or we want to talk about things, unless one of the main news channels picked you up, or you were selected as the token community leader, you wouldn't have no say really. You'd be nondescript in the back doors in the dark. So after me, it's kind of allow people to be able to report themselves live at the scene. So that's one good thing for it, and it's provided opportunity before where people couldn't get one. Mm, that's what
Definitely,
it's very
just the
good.
internet itself has kind of put the pen in the hands of the lion as opposed to in the
Mm,
hunter, because we like even check out things like Nepal and that. You know what I mean? Where the people and there's various other social media situations where the people lock off the internet. And certain things happen in Africa where they'll lock off the internet because people is reporting the truth. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
they'll
Yeah.
come out some next way. Do you know
Yeah.
what I
That's
mean?
what they. Well,
So
yeah. Of course, the next
uh,
way to censor us.
once upon a time, they just had the news.
Mm,
You had the TV, you had the news channels, you had radio, and then we did pirate radio, and we brought it be a slow thing. Because, for example, if an internet happens to the song to it, I've got to get the band together, I've got to go to the studio, I've got to
yeah.
book a
That's it.
song,
That's it.
I've got
That's
to
it.
get it to printed, I've got to get it to the label, I've got to do all this. It could take 6 months before I get the news out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With
Definitely.
the internet now, as it happens,
Yeah. Live and
and
that.
it's not just your perspective. I can show like I'm showing you my perspective, but you
Mm,
can actually see and make your own verdict of what you see,
mm,
as opposed to Chinese whispers of people's
mm.
views and opinions and their verdict. You know
And
what I
it's a
mean?
real democracy, I guess. Democratizes the media, where before they could funnel off only certain voices could get a say. So, but then obviously you
Mhm.
get, like you said, all these little mini gods thinking, "Oh, it's my world. This is my platform. This is what I want to do. Keep your
Mhm.
mouth quiet." Yeah. So you get all that, and obviously the internal competition as well. And then people said, "Yeah, I remember you. He's a donor, or as a serious road man, and this man's a pleb, or this man's, a joker, or he's a coward." So you get all that, and I said, look, it's like street whispers and gossiping all over again. And this is why I think why the women criticize. I said, look, the chatty patty men coming on there, carrying on. They used to wear
Always.
they could wear Christmas hats, and they used to go to war for us. Now they're wearing Christmas hats, gossiping online. So you get all that, don't you? Mm.
But even with that, yeah, I think, for example, when men went to war, they were gossiping then, they were chatting shit then, they were just doing it
Yeah,
to
of
the
course,
battlefield
it
because they
wasn't
were getting
it
blown up.
wasn't on camera.
They were chatting, and even for example, the podcast thing, like I was saying earlier, Kilroy or whatever, it was in
Yeah,
different spaces. It wasn't as common, and
yeah.
because we see things more often, then it breeds more of it. But man,
Yeah.
then went to the barber shop,
Yeah,
man,
of
then went
course.
to
And
the
he's just talking the
pub,
barbershop. Yeah, of
man, then went
course.
to the rum shack,
Yeah,
man, then
yeah,
was under
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
tree. If you're in Caribbean or
Mm-hmm.
Asia, I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
man then was chatting shit. You just didn't hear
Mm-hmm.
about it because we didn't videotape it and then broadcast it
That's
for
it, of
everyone to
course.
see.
It was
And I
it
think
was in the
that's a big
dark.
part of the problem is that
Mm.
certain personal conversations and like whether it be personal as in interpersonal like you and me, whether it be
Mm.
personal as in within communities like the black community, the Asian community, the Southeast Asian community, the East
Mm.
Asian community,
Mm.
the Anglo-Saxon community, the
Mm.
WASP community, the
Mm.
Celtic community, the
Mm.
Welsh, like there were
Yeah.
certain
The
personal
Roma.
conversations that we used to have, which we're now having in front of everybody. And then
Mm.
they're open to critique for everybody because it's a public conversation. It's no
Public
longer a
platform.
personal
Yeah, yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
And there's good and bad with that because
Yeah,
some
cool.
things actually you wouldn't say to people's face. So maybe you need to check yourself. But some things are an in-house thing. You wouldn't talk about certain things. You talk about things with your mum first before you go talk to your auntie or with your
Mm.
cousins. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? So there is a dynamic of good and bad or pros and cons with
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
always, always. But see, remember, you're a balanced man. A lot of people they don't think of it like that. They don't spend too much time or employing critical thinking. So that's when you get also the contention and the cantankerousness and like, oh look, arguing, and you would have thought he was a street or road beef. But I saw it going. I saw it go.
Mm, mm,
So you see, going
mm.
forward, when you with your support work, is the organisation you're going to be moving to going to be thing, going to be big, better?
Local authority, local
I look
authority.
for okay,
So
okay, okay. And what's
it's
your
more or
end
less the
goal with
same
that?
thing, but just for council.
What's your end goal with that? What would you like to achieve
To get some more
afterwards?
experience, just more experience in a different context. Um, bolster up my thing, see what happens. Another job in about a year or so, keep it moving. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I don't want to do this forever. Um,
But
like I
you're
do
an artist.
enjoy
You're a
it,
recording artist, though,
but
isn't it? You're a recording artist.
yeah, that's really what I am. Like all this other stuff was stuff like as I said. See, I was telling you how it came from music. Like I've been making music from I was about 9. Do you know what I mean? And man was doing music workshops from I was about 15 in schools to kids that were like 16 and older than me. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
So I was like supporting a brethren or whatever. I used to do workshops in Sarah Burnell School with my brethren Stallion Solo, and remember Ty
No,
Ty from Brixton.
no, no, no.
R.I.P. He's passed away now. His name's Ty Chikoi, I think.
Okay.
Can't remember how to pronounce his last name, and I don't want to butcher it or disrespect his family or
Mm,
anything like that. But his name's Ty anyway. Big UK hip hop kind of backpacker type hip hop, like a bit like kind of De La Soul kind of vibes,
oh, did it? Oh,
culture.
okay, okay.
But
Yeah, I'm more familiar with him. Mm,
not that per se, but more like that native tongues thing as opposed to like a DMX or something. He's more like
okay.
abstract and cultural
Mm,
and. But we were doing when I was about 15, so this is about 14, 15. This is about like 99, 2000, 2001.
mm,
We were doing workshops in Sarah Bernal's school, teaching kids how to rap, how to put a 16 bar together, where
mm.
the rhyme goes, how to put a chorus together. Do you know what I mean? And then from when I was about 17, I was doing workshops in like Feltham and these things. Same kind of stuff, just teaching young men how to express their feelings in rhyme. Like, I just knew how to write bars in it. I was writing bars from when I was a kid. I was performing, doing youth theatre and all this stuff. So opportunities came about for me to capitalize off that, and I started to kind of go that way. But I also didn't want to at the time. I just wanted to be a pure artist. I just wanted to make spit bars, do shows, battle, clash, and just do that. So as much
See,
as
you could go on.
opportunities
What's that thing
presented,
my
I didn't.
woman showed me? The pen game. You could go on there.
Man, that's all. I wouldn't do that anymore, man. That's once
You
upon a
know,
time, man. And even that with
okay,
the pen game thing, like the guy that built the rhythm for pen game, because that's where the whole thing comes from. Morpheus, that's my good people. Like me and him got a lot of work together. So the
okay,
producer, the guy called Mars, he's a rapper from Hackney. He done a
okay.
tune on the beat called the Pen Game, and that's Morpheus's instrumental, and that's one of my like me and him have done a lot of work together. Good people, man. That's like my bro.
That's it.
But
Yes.
yeah, all the like my thing is music is a mission. It's not a competition. So there's nothing wrong with clashing. I think there is healthy competition and it's good for. But that era of time where I was trying to prove myself or sharpen my teeth in a battle of wits and whatever,
Mm,
I just have to say what I have to say, and I leave that as a contribution on the table of music and art and culture, and then I go about my business. I'm not
okay. I hear that.
not going to do
I can understand
those years are gone. You know,
that. Yeah, cool.
it was fun. It was fun when it was that time.
Yeah.
Those years.
So you ever performed abroad or like the Caribbean, Africa?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like man did I did a when I was about 18, I took my crew at the time. So what I was saying about the mentorship thing kind of turned into a crew or collective. It was like a booking agency of artists called Exodus First Movement around 2003.
Okay.
Um, I was in youth theatre from about 96 till about 2002, 2003 when I left school. And
Okay.
Stratford Youth Theatre because I'm from East. And a lot of the younger people were coming up and kind of grime was starting to develop, and I'm seeing this different energy. It wasn't quite what they call grime. It's tail end garage, kind of a bit of like American hip hop R&B, Timberland
Mm.
type beats, but it's different to what we was already doing. And I've kind of clocked that something's changing and it needs harnessing and directing. So I set up this crew called Exodus, Movement of the People,
I like Bob Marley's
cultural.
album. Mm.
There you go. Them time now I'm just turning, I think 2004 maybe, 2003, 2004 when I started my Trod and Turn Ras. So these are my kind of meditations and about us going back as a people, not just jumping on a boat and going somewhere, but spiritually, culturally, historically, getting to understand who we are and moving from where we are now under like bondage and Passa Passa and Jerry Springer and kind of
Mm.
getting back to some of our cultural and ideological and social and
Yeah, yeah,
philosophical
I
ways,
like
man.
that. I've
So
seen
with
some of
that now,
you. Sure. Mm. I like that. Remember, I was a big
nothing ain't really
headbanger.
changed.
Mm.
Nothing ain't really changed from then to when, really. Do you know what I mean? It might be under a different name or a different banner or a different set of people, but really, it's the same mission. But at that time, 2003, so I start take on these young people and start guide them and facilitate studio session. And there's a lot of like young parties. We get some DJs together. One of our DJs was a guy called Joe Graham. He's now passed away,
Yeah, I
but he's
know
a
Joe
big
Graham.
DJ.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know
You
Joe
know
Graham.
Joe Graham, yeah. So
Mm.
this is what I'm saying. Enough people that you probably know, like R.I.P. Joe, man, good brethren of ours, man. From these times when these guys were in school, you know what I mean? Me and them, man, they're the same age. Joe Graham, Eric, we used to make music in his dad's basement. Enough different people make clothes design and all these kind of things and graffiti and all
Mm.
this stuff. And we started doing clashes and all these kind of events and putting on birthday parties and christenings and under 18s and all this kind of stuff. And then that went on for a while. And one thing that kind of changed things a bit for a direction is one of my brethren that came studio. he had some mental health issues and he had a paranoid schizophrenic episode and he killed my engineer. And that kind of mashed things up a piece. So I kind of had to redirect myself after that.
Okay.
So I started more focusing on just me and my girl at the time, and then ended up having a son. Me and her were still making music, but becoming a dad's going to change direction and that a bit. I'm there trying to just make money and do what I have to do for that. I'm always still making music. Eventually, go for life, certain problems, Babylon, whatever. I end up going to uni for about a year,
Okay.
doing business studies,
Hmm.
and they just taught me to mind your business. Like that's the main thing I got from that whole time.
Yeah.
But it was valuable, like to know that that's business acumen to actually
Mm-hmm.
mind your business, focus on your own
Mm-hmm.
things, like intuitive focus. And different organizations have different cultures, so you set your house the way you want it to be. I did a study on like Tesco's and Google, and a different company culture. And Google had like a culture where like they do all kinds of things for their employees to make their employees happy. They get them hammocks and do their laundry, babysit their
Yeah, yeah,
kids. They've
definitely.
got
You get
games
free
in the
food
place,
as well, so
and
you'd have to go out for lunch. It's a big
all
thing,
listen,
though.
all your needs are met. So all you got to do is be productive. And the culture there was completely different because the people there is coming up with brain revolutionary ideas. But at Tesco's, they don't give a rat's ass about you.
Yeah, they
You know what I
don't
mean?
care. It's a
Obviously,
number.
like there's basic minimum that law that I have to abide by, but they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's true.
like, half the people them in 0 hours contract. So
But I noticed
so it made me just think, raw, set my thing.
it's all the big tech companies that do believe in that. Because I had a spell at Meta a few about 3 years ago. I was there for like well just over 2 years. First on the landlord side
Yeah,
at Regent's Place in Warren Street, the headquarters there, and then I went over to the client side with Joseph Lang LaSalle's another facilities contract within the office space. So I was shocked when they said, "Yeah, when you come up here, Sean, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, on-site gym."
yep,
They even
yep,
had a baby room that we had
yep.
to do the tap
Bar,
temperature for. Yeah,
massage,
yeah, yeah. It was
foot
crazy.
rub.
Yeah,
Listen,
it was a serious thing.
all kind of games room, all
Yeah, the
kind of
games
thing. When
room
I
there.
start
Yeah,
seeing
games
stuff,
room there.
and
Mm.
the killer was it. I went to uni probably at about 26, maybe 27, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm learning, right, there's jobs like this. I've been ducking work. I started work from I was about 13, 14, doing different EDOT jobs here and there or whatever,
yeah,
just to do what I've got to do, yeah. And from my time about 15, 16, I won the work. I said, I'm done with this. And I found my other ways of doing what I need to do
mm.
as the rest to do what I forgot you and do what I must do, yeah. But that's because when I left school, I was tired of being told what to do. When I did this
I can
study and
understand
realized
that.
they've got companies that are hiring people to do whatever they want, and
Yeah,
ultimately it's about how you maneuver the situation. Then when I
yeah,
finally start work again as an adult and realize, raw, half the time these people is on cigarette break, tea break, coffee break,
yeah, yeah,
chat break,
yeah,
like
yeah,
they work about a third of the day, if that,
yeah,
and the rest
yeah,
of the time is lunch and fucking around. Yeah, I
yeah,
thought, raw, man, been running around block and corner and alley and crevice chasing cat and dog and rat and
yeah,
mouse like
yeah,
an idiot.
yeah.
Or man, and even for example with that, like what I didn't realize, and it worked greatly for me when I did start working, was that more time, most things and hustlings and people and whatever, life don't really kick off till 6 o'clock. Most
Mm,
jobs end at 5.
mm.
So really, obviously, you're going to be tired after a period of time or whatever. But more time, you could go work, do your little works, your tea break, your coffee break, whatever in the day. Come home, clock on, do whatever you got to do, and move on with your life. But I learned it a bit late in life, you know.
It's understandable. You was on the spiritual journey. You're a recording artist, so I can understand that. I wish I
Oof,
had that
oof,
kind of talent.
oof.
Mm.
And that's what I learned for the music. When I did start working, I realized, right, all the years I was doing whatever else I was doing, a lot of time with the music thing, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You hustle this, you make that. Cool. I got to buy CDs, I got to buy album covers, I got to get artwork designed, I've got to pay for studio time, I've got to da, 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 da. All right, cool. Finally done that, and now I've got to sell that. Made that bit of money, and then I've got to give back Paul to pay back Peter. I've got to, when you've got a job, every Friday, or at that time I was working, every Friday I know I'm getting paid. So any investment that I need to make or consistent investment, if I save £50 a week or £20 a week or whatever, there's always a bank for the music thing. So wherever I need to go on a trip, I've got a booking
Mm.
somewhere. I might get paid to get there, but I still got to get there. If I got to sell
Did
the
you ever
album
think
to
about
do
doing
this to do,
DJing? Because a lot of my friends, with they never think with the artists, they start to do DJing on the side and they get hired out. Mm.
what? Yeah, because I've done radio for a long time. I did about 5 years of radio show. Yeah,
Okay.
Just machines. Me and machines ain't great.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So as much as I could do, it's not the end of the world. And in this day and age, half the people ain't really DJing at all,
Yeah,
man.
they're
They're
not.
pressing
They're
the
not. It's
buttons,
not
you know.
like they're
It's not like
vinyl
one
vest.
time you have to just
Yeah.
you got to put the penny on the needle and you got
Yeah.
to get the thing and
Yeah.
line up rhythm and all
Yeah.
that kind of BPM
Yeah.
and all of that. It's nothing like that. So, but in the same, and I think too, I find a lot of time people are that because you're a personality or people know you as an MC, then you start DJ, and then all of a sudden you become the next biggest DJ. But I'm
Yeah.
chiefing the food out of DJ's mouths, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Of
real
course, they've got a
DJs that have
celebrity. They've
skill
got a
and
name. That
talent.
always
Like
happens. That always happens.
maybe I'm being a dickhead because it's an opportunity for me, but just my ethics and my morals kind of just I don't know, man. I just feel like certain times just hold your corner and know your place, innit?
Yeah. See. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. But to be fair, look, K Putin wasn't always on the fireman thing. I remember when he used to have his flat top.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, and he was doing all the
Yeah,
dancehall
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he transitioned to that same in Buju. So, mm,
All part of the
but,
journey, man.
mm.
All part of it.
But enough.
Oh,
You,
when you say
you,
DJ, you're talking about DJs in like yard music, as it. I thought you meant DJs in like.
yeah, no, any kind of music, any kind of music, any kind of music.
No, but even with the like, man, jump on any rhythm I like, bro. I'm an African, so anytime I hear the heartbeat, I will just
Mm.
move. You know what I mean? But more time, I'm just gonna keep it normal. Same as I'm talking to you now. Obviously, it might depend on what we're talking. Same as things come out, but more time, man, try to keep it as normal as every day as you see me. You know what I mean? So there's no shock and surprise.
Yeah, of course,
You
yeah,
know?
that's understandable. Especially if you know you're good at something and said, yeah, you want to be a master of one thing instead of a jack of all. Yeah, so I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're
Mm-hmm.
not passionate about it either, because then it just becomes like a chore, and they probably come out
And the
what
killer
you
was that
more.
will be the thing that was the most successful thing for you, and it'll be the thing you
Mm.
don't want to do, and then you spend your
Yeah,
life
no,
doing
I've
it. And
seen
it's like
that too. I've seen that too in life. I've seen that too in life. Because look, I went to do the facilities for this ACL, and now people offered me to do a pilot for domestic abuse victims, which is a totally turnaround from 2 years ago. So yeah, it's thing. It's like a detour. I've had to jump off and said, "Ah,
boom.
next word."
You was asking me about performing abroad. So when I was 18, I
Mm.
had the opportunity to go to Sicily and take my crew there. So at the time I've
Okay.
got that crew. There's probably about 20 of us in total of but a lot of the people are fringe people or people that we book, and then there's probably about 9 or 7 core people, yeah. About 5 of us went out there. There's another dance group called Boy Blue Entertainment. Guy
Yeah.
called Kendrick Sandy, you may have heard of them before. They do
Yes.
all the people that
Yeah.
used to do all that
Yeah.
stuff and
Body
whatever back in
popping.
the
Yeah.
day, yeah. Yeah. So we've gone out there and we've headlined at this show when I was about 18 and took 5. Probably one of the most biggest boosts in my. If that didn't happen, I might have gave up music a long time ago. But that's a boost my head as an 18-year-old, like raw, like
Mm.
man's rolling. I didn't have a penny to my name, but I'm rolling. I'm signing grandma's autographs, all this, yeah. And then when I came back for a long, I expected kind of life to kind of just start going.
Yeah.
Like
Rocking.
this is it. Didn't, bro. It went like this for
Mm.
a long.
No, to be fair, I've
But
had that as well.
having a taste of it,
I've had that. Yeah, I've had
yeah,
that as
having a
well.
taste of it kept man going. So, but yeah, so we've done that. I performed in Prague a couple of times. From Prague about last year, and then I performed in Prague back in like 2013, 14. At some mad warehouse thing. Like it looked like he's going to some Def Leppard thing, and that man then was like stereotypically you'd think, right, he's got the KKK, like these goss type people are going to string me up in that man. From I
Mm.
stepped in the door, the man them were like, "Ah, you Rasta my money."
Yeah.
People start giving me weed and that, like just putting bud in my hand, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"What?" Like, it's mad, it's mad, it's crazy, bro. It's very warm, and every room in this warehouse here is a
Yeah.
different sound. So one room is like techno, next
Yeah.
room is garage, next room is American speed garage, next room is
Cool.
house, next room is funk, next room is disco, next room
Yeah.
it was like a dream, bro. And
Okay.
man's already hit 2, so I'm kind of floating, bro. The place was mad. Me and
Mm.
Big Cakes, me and Big Cakes on that there still, bro. It's sick still.
Uh,
Where else have I performed? Um, Ireland. I did a headline show out in Galway.
Okay.
Um, where else have I performed? All over the UK. Um, Where else have I performed? Different places, man. Only for different places. I've done a lot of recording. Done some recording in Jamaica. At one studio in Duns River. Um, done some recording. It's just too many places, man. Up and down, and around about the world. You know what I mean? But
Yes, yes.
yeah, all kind of
Yeah,
things,
big
man.
experiences though. Big experiences. I think I
Yeah,
went abroad
definitely,
once
definitely,
with my woman in 2011. Man, that's the only time I've been. But yeah, I haven't traveled like you. Mm. I've been Jamaica too many
definitely.
times. I wish I'd gone there less and gone to some other places.
Listen, the future's unwritten, so you got that wealth of experience of time. And you're Jamaican, right? Your family's Jamaican, right?
Yeah, my
Your mum
grandparents are
and
from
dad.
there. Mm.
There you go. So that's you just connecting with your root and your direct lineage of where you're from. But there's time for you in the future now, especially as yard and these places getting more expensive. Find
Yeah,
yourself
it
some other place. Like
is.
really, a lot of the Europe and all that, the traveling I did in Europe. Because even when I went, oh, you know one thing I did do? I did a workshop and a performance in Bosnia.
Okay.
Basically, like it was with the survivors from the genocide. And it was kind of take what we was meant to do is go there, meet them, the mums of sons that died and stuff, and the families and the husbands that died, and some guys that had crawled out of a mass grave of bodies to survive naked and run through a field and all kind of mad stories, bro. Some mad stories, and we come and take their stories and we
And
turned
they
it into
they
like
like they
art,
like our
song,
kind of
and
music in Bosnia, yeah?
like me. I don't know. I don't know how much they're into black music as a
Was you
whole,
doing
but
hip hop
they
or
like
was
me.
you doing
They
like reggae?
no,
Okay.
no, the tunes I did was hip hop still.
Okay.
One of them was hip hop. The other two was kind of like acoustic soul or acoustic
Okay.
roots. Like it was like I was rapping, but the I was doing it with my bandmate and she plays guitar in it. You know what I mean? But
Okay. Like in the
yeah,
Irish
man,
style.
it was their story though. What where you're taking their story and giving it to them in a song. You know what I mean? They're captivated because you've been able to turn around and take their pain, their harsh
Mm,
experiences, and turn it
yeah.
into something beautiful. You know? So
Mm,
it's healing for them.
okay. Yeah, I remember there's an album called Acoustic Soul from India Irie. That's to do with
Uh huh.
a girl that she was turning Rasta and she had this phase when she was just what she listened to like kind of India Irie what's the other one the other neo soul artist what's her name Jill Scott and then she
Jill
was
Scott Erica.
Sizzler Kalanja and then and I Wayne so she's on that kind of work vibe
Yeah,
time there
you
so
know about
yeah.
Midnight.
Mm.
You know about Midnight
No.
from Virgin Islands.
No, I
He's
don't
passed
know.
away now, but check out Midnight or Akabeka.
Okay,
Yeah,
I will.
like if that very acoustic, that sound roots cool kind of. You know, like certain frequency music that's on a certain frequency, which is healing for the soul and the body.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
There's an ex empress called Desiree that they work with. Yeah? Not Desiree from the UK. Not you gotta be good. You gotta be not that
I
chick.
know.
The next one. They're both from the
Okay,
Virgin Islands.
okay, from
Check them
Virgin
out. You will
Islands.
like them.
Okay, I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
You
have
will
to
like
look
them.
out for that then. Desiree, Virgin Islands. I remember that. And the other one, Midnight. Yeah, Midnight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely do that. So going forward, would you be up for the panel talks or any events? Because obviously I
Yeah,
was
yeah, of course,
connecting
man.
with you from all
Just let
that
me know.
time ago when we done that thing at the at London Bridge.
All you do is let me know in advance. Like, if I can get like a week, 2 weeks in advance, and if it can work on my calendar, why not?
Okay. Well, I think it's better thing instead of the Instagram. What I do is I'll send you my WhatsApp number so that way I can message you directly in live time. If you
I'm
don't
not even on
mind.
WhatsApp, but you can take my phone number and text me still.
Okay. Yeah. Inbox me on Instagram. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
I
That's
don't
the
want you to.
good
I
stuff.
don't want to record it and then have your number out there on the thing. Yeah. So.
Hotline start ring. I know when the hotline
Yeah, I
ring.
saw you talking with that equal start line. All types of people ringing. Yeah, he said, "Sure, what's going on? Do you cut that out? Do you edit that?" Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for coming on today, though. It's been a very enjoyable chat with you. And as I always say, where there's
Yeah,
people,
man.
there
Blessing.
is power. Justice in our time.